Breaking news. 2 sheriff's deputies were shot point blank by an unknown suspect. The suspect is still on the run. To make matters worse, seems like BLM is at the hospital chanting that these police officers should die. Why is society unraveling before our very eyes? Why do these people look like they're absolutely crazy, gone? Not just Newsom, but Pelosi. All these people on TV, you know, seem like they're a few fries short of a Happy Meal. We've got the answer for you. It's not just social justice, ladies and gentlemen. There's something else going on. Listen to this. This exposed loop of the SARS-CoV-2 S protein also contains a motif that is homologous to that of snake neurotoxins and the RABIES neurotoxin-like region. It seems like this virus is more than just the flu. It's more than just pneumonia. This thing causes brain damage. It alters people's behaviors. It's like a demonic virus with rage, ladies and gentlemen. And we expect to see more and more rage. Now, people, you know, will assume that it's because, you know, there's some type of triggering event. And that may be the case. But the threshold for trigger has just been lowered exponentially. COVID is rabies. And the vaccine, ladies and gentlemen, will be rabies too. You want to know why? Because they're going to be making copies of the S protein and injecting it into people. And with the mRNA vaccine, it's going to be telling your body to produce S protein, to produce the rabies protein. And this S protein, you know, it's the spike protein. It's kind of like the stinger on a bee. And they're going to be mass producing that in people with the vaccine. And it contains rabies, ladies and gentlemen. It contains rabies. And that means these vaccines will be 1,000,000 times worse. The guaranteed doom for humanity. And we know that all of these billionaires are in it together like a bunch of Charlie Manson groupies. We've seen the Agenda 21. We've seen the Event 201, the Clade X exercise, the Bloomberg School of Health with John Hopkins in the mix, giving you the maps and the updates. But don't forget about Bill Gates. Don't forget about Donald Trump selling you the Moderna vaccine, which will be quite literally the I am legend, nail in the coffin of this zombie apocalypse, this coming zombie apocalypse, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this study, this is a preprint titled The Nicotinic Hypothesis for COVID-19. And this adventure started with the observation that people that were smokers seem to be less affected, less hospitalized than regular people. And it starts talking about, you know, the weird symptoms that people are having with this virus, which includes, you know, loss of smell and taste and behavioral issues, dementia, etc., etc. And they hypothesize that, in fact, it must be similar to other, you know, encephalitis-causing viruses. And so they started comparing, and it shows up like rabies. Now, this isn't exactly like foaming at the mouth rabies. This is like the rage, you know, the uncontrollable barking side of the rabies. And so this is what's going to make the situation so much worse. Now, we've got some other very disturbing footage that you really need to see. Like and share, get this information out there, ladies and gentlemen.
I've never seen this before. There's an input on the computer that you tested positive for COVID?
Yes.
When was this?
This was a week ago.
Are you...
I'm not sure if you could hear that, but essentially the police officer here says that he's got an unusual input on his computer, says that you've tested positive for COVID. And this is a story that basically made the headlines, and now it's on their computer screens. Everybody that's tested positive for COVID is going to be on record, and they're going to be coming back for you because you've got the zombies-like disease. And eventually, they're going to lock everybody up that's got the rabies. And this is just the beginning of the process. But there's no cure. There's never going to be a cure for this virus. They're just buying time, making people think that, everything's going to be okay. It's going to get worse. And we see countless examples of rabies-like behavior. And it's just kind of like labeled as social justice, and people are okay with that. But no, there's something else going on. 100 days of riots is not what it looks like. In fact, they just can't stop themselves anymore. And again, this is only going to get worse as people get reinfected. Every time people get reinfected, they will basically get the brain flu, and it'll bring them one step closer to being like a zombie. And now they're just shooting cops and showing up at the hospital chanting the most obscene things. And you got Netflix. I mean, they must be on the rabies, ladies and gentlemen, and it's just totally child porn on Netflix. And you can bet that there's a lot more pedophiles in America than you think. Pedo would, ladies and gentlemen. This is the latest smoke map of the West Coast. As you can see here, is Portland, the epicenter. Just a couple of weeks ago, they were burning the Bible. Look at them now, right? And the levels here, this is in particulate matter 2.5, PM 2.5. I mean, it's up there in the 500. I mean, these people, it must be real painful over there. Sodom is burning, ladies and gentlemen. Horrible, to say the least. But these people are essentially like a cancer that's metastasizing. And, they need the chemo. We need to do something to stop this disease. And regardless of what they say, it's never going to get better. We saw the Jay Bishop killing in Portland. Now this. Things are going to continue to escalate. And for a while, it's going to seem like it's normal because things will escalate little by little with each wave that goes by of coronavirus. And, as soon as they start introducing the vaccine, watch out, people are going to start going crazy. I mean, that's our opinion at this stage. Zombie apocalypse is coming. You better prepare. Of course, our videos are just disappearing faster than you can say what happened. Be sure to support our broadcast. Buy the video guy a beer at patreon.com/STF News. That's patreon.com/STF News. Buy the video guy a beer. Support our broadcast so that we can keep fighting back against this system and reporting the news. Of course, the news is not allowed. And there's a reason for that. I mean, it's like the movie 2012. They don't want people to know until they can jump on their little ships or, go into their underground bases with all of their supplies. And so they're going to keep us, calm and quiet and under control as long as they possibly can. And they'll make you think like, oh yeah, there's a vaccine coming. Don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen. But the worst is yet to come. Again, with every wave, with every reinfection, people are going to become more zombie-like. And, if you don't try to put in place some kind of countermeasures or prophylaxis, it's definitely going to get worse for you and everybody That's why we recommend, anti-inflammatories and the like. And so we've got all sorts of examples of, what's going on out there on our website, stfnreport.com. Of course, we've got the Moderna patents that are showing up in early 2019 on SARS coronavirus vaccines in case of some kind of deliberate release. And that's really disturbing. See that deliberate release of SARS coronavirus in their update for their patent. Check this out. Trans Satanist anarchist with fuck the police slogan wins GOP sheriff's primary. So this is the GOP ticket out there in wherever. So New Hampshire. Okay, so this is what society has become, total Sodom and Gomorrah. And you want to be surprised that they didn't lock up Hillary, that, you know, they're poisoning your food, your air, your water, they're infecting you. You know, look, these people are anti-life, they're anti-Christian, they're evildoers, and they need, you know, to go away. We need a divorce, and we need a Christian homeland. You know, join us in that struggle. We need to make America Christian again. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Be able to grow up here, have your children grow up as good little Christians. Any case, it's definitely looking like hell on earth over there, and it's never going to get better because these people are a disease, and you know the system is trying to wipe them out, and they'll we may get wiped out with them in the floods if we don't do something. Ladies and gentlemen, guess who was at Trump Tower, bitches? Come on. Tell me who was at Trump Tower selling the Moderna vaccine. And even, you know, in his comments here, he's like, yeah, we were talking about innovation and technology, healthcare, you know, pandemic. So there's a reason why they let this virus in. And now they're like, oh, yeah, we knew it was airborne. You didn't know it was airborne? I mean, we told you not to wear a mask just because it wasn't airborne. Any case, the masks certainly aren't helping with the smoke out there. Look at that. You might think it's fog. Oh, no. No. This is all the real thick, juicy, lung-irritating smoke that, in theory, is going to make the COVID so much worse. Even the young people are going to start feeling the COVID now, ladies and gentlemen. And little by little, you know, people most certainly will. And one of the most common signs is the chronic fatigue. And, you know, basically, it's quicker for you to become short of breath. That tends to be, you know, one of the classic signs of systemic infection. And, you know, that's usually synonymous with, you know, nerve damage as well as other things that are happening. So, you know, hike up your anti-inflammatories, your antivirals, you know, the zinc, the spirulina, the selenium, many others. You know, we've listed some in the video description, but you should do your own research on natural anti-inflammatories. We're looking at the takeoff of some kind of new wave in France, and it looks much more intense than anything we saw back in March, April, officially. Now, they weren't really testing back then either. But these numbers, you know, it seems like it's ramping up exponentially right now. So it's still really hot in Europe. Most people are anticipating, you know, quite an increase in the caseload. What that will mean is really hard to say. You know, I think on the surface it may look like things are better because people aren't getting the primary infection again, which is the respiratory distress for the most part. But, you know, that's the primary infection. And what really matters now is the systemic infection. You have to remember that HIV takes, you know, 7 or 8 years to manifest itself as AIDS. So the first year it may be asymptomatic. The second year may be asymptomatic. But that doesn't mean that it's gone away. It's like herpes and the like. But, you know, if you're just joining us, the spike protein of coronavirus has an exposed loop. So it's like you got these spikes and then you got this little loop of the S protein that contains a motif, a molecular motif that is homologous to the to that of snake neurotoxins and rabies neurotoxin-like regions. So what we have here is something that's hardcore neurotoxic, nerve damage. It's a neurotoxin like VX or something that just basically amplifies upon reinfection. That's the idea. Take your anti-inflammatories, baking soda, detox your system, get plenty of sunlight. They say sunlight makes a difference here. 15 minutes a day if you can, not just your arms and your feet or whatever. I mean, just a full dose of sunshine. Fresh air is key. Plenty of sleep, vitamin C, all your vitamins, magnesium, zinc, your minerals, the works. Make it a priority because we're going in for the long haul here. And we're seeing a big rebound in cases in Europe. And again, if you think about what happened at the beginning of the epidemic, Europe took off before America. So we're probably lagging behind, a month or two. But we're definitely going to see a huge rebound in cases. And it won't be until wintertime before things get intense. Co-infections, super infections, other vaccines playing into the mix. So we don't expect to see a whole lot more body bags again until November, December, January. But again, it's not really the acute respiratory distress or heart attacks that should spook you the most, but it's really the the idea of people going mad cow, people going rabies, and essentially like some kind of zombie apocalypse. That is a very real possibility with this virus. And of course, they want to censor that information like the Nazis that they are. Now, here's just another one. Girl can't get her sandwich.
Magnesium chicken.
I can't.
Magnesium
Man,
chicken.
I'll get fired.
You didn't work here.
Yes,
We
I
don't
did
invest in
work here.
chicken.
She doesn't look too homeless. You know what I mean? She looks a little homeless, but not too homeless. The shoes look like in good condition. And so, this girl's just flipping her shit over a sandwich. And we expect that you're going to see a lot more stuff like that. It's going to come in stages, like most, neurologic diseases, to say the least. And I think we're going to see different types of manifestations in different segments and different demographics, age groups, etc. We're going to see some people basically, have heart attacks. Some people have stroke. Some people have, dementia. Some people get MS. Some people get mad cow. And then you'll have like the true zombies out there. And that'll be like, a demographic. Will they be the survivors or will they be the ultimate victims, ladies and gentlemen? Yesterday's broadcast, was deleted by Facebook, or ScrewTube, we should say. And so we've re-uploaded that to BitChute, and you should find most of them on BitChute and our Facebook pages, STFN Reloaded, and our new backup page on Facebook, which is Stranger Than Fiction. So just Stranger Than Fiction. That's the new page. So be sure to like that if you're seeing this on the Facebook side. Stranger Than Fiction page, administrated by the Bella Marie out there. Much love to all of the administrators and moderators and the audience. We've got the best audience out there. And we'll do live shows again soon. We'd like to do more live shows. Get your take on the rabies. Is there a virus? If you feel like there is no virus, tell us what lab you work at. Tell us about your home lab and your electron microscope and the like, your DNA sequencing machine. Tell us all about that and how you regularly send sequences to the gene bank, or you could tell us about the flat earth. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, the flat earth and the flat moon. Did you know in the southern hemisphere, they see that man on the face, or the face on the moon? upside down. The stars are completely different. And of course, it's rotating the opposite direction. The stars are rotating the opposite direction. That is the flip side of the flat Earth, ladies and gentlemen. But there you go. Nothing like an edumacation from Stranger Than Fiction News. But look, you're free to believe what you want to believe. That's a right. Unfortunately, you don't have that right anymore thanks to California. Thanks to these hellions out there. You basically have Negro status. You know, back in the old days, they would put up signs, no Negroes allowed. Today, it's like no conservatives allowed. You can't go to the restaurant. You can't get a library card at Fakebook anymore. You're not allowed at ScrewTube. You're not allowed anywhere because you now have Negro status in America thanks to these communists. Scary people, ladies and gentlemen, to say the least. And so much more. Baby rapists are allowed on Fakebook, but Republicans are not. You know what I mean? Pardon Kyle Rittenhouse. And that was another example of the zombie apocalypse, the rage, ladies and gentlemen. And these people are free, but conservatives are always arrested. And you're fact-checked by the very people that spawned this virus. Conflicts of interest everywhere. And, speaking of conflicts of interest, everywhere, Trudeau and, the Pedo Wood Foundation over there. But more cases of COVID rage. And that's a term I think people really need to start employing. Share that article about, this virus being like airborne rabies, as well as airborne HIV. No immunity, no protection. Every reinfection gives you the brain flu, and eventually you end up like this. They've already gone through like 100 cycles. They've already gotten like 100 doses of the COVID since the beginning, and this is where they're at. When you get your 100 doses, you'll be like that, but by then they'll be worse. They might be foaming at the mouth. We'll have to leave it there for this broadcast. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Support our show at patreon.com/STF News, as well as, get yourself a meter. The EMF 390 is still $129, a life-saving tool. You want to know what you're getting dosed with because EMF weakens your immune system. And, if we tell you to get a meter, you probably should get a meter because, we're way ahead of the crowd. And if you got a meter, then, keep going and raise awareness. Show people what they're getting dosed with. Start a 5G community in your town because, this COVID rage is coming to you, ladies and gentlemen. Get the EMF 390. Oh, his name was Seth Rich. Wasn't the Russian hackers, by the way. Imagine a public so dumbed down they think they can vote their way out of this, ladies and gentlemen. So the whole system is corrupt. I'm sure everybody saw this. The pentagram. And, so on and so forth. Cancel Netflix. Cancel Netflix. Cancel all of these people on the West Coast. We need a divorce. Christian Homeland. Write us in for everything. Sheriff, county clerk, Board of Education, you name it. State House of Representatives, president if you want to, but write in Ron Johnson, STFN, and let us bring back some law and order in our Christian homeland. Till the next time, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this, you are the resistance.